Hey everybody, it's Dr. Karchula. Um, Welcome to the Be Authentic video seminar. And what I'm going to be doing today is we're going to be talking about the idea of being the authentic you. And as the email said and the flyer had said, um, it's about really taking a deep look at who you are, what you're all about, and making sure that who you are is fitting into the rest of your life and that you are not fitting into all of that. We want we want you to be so clear about who you are that everything else is just an extension of you instead of you contorting things and you just kind of fitting in. We don't want you fitting in. We want you expressing yourself to its fullest ability. Now, I do have some notes with this because I wanted to make sure I hit everything and I didn't leave anything out. So I will be glancing down occasionally just to make sure that I'm covering all the different topics. But here's the thing. The reason why I do these programs, do these video seminars, is because it fits in with my whole mission. And my whole mission is to help as many people in my lifetime, especially children. Now, you may know that as my chiropractic mission, which of course it is, but really everything I do fits into that as well. And with these video, whether it's the video seminars or a talk that I might give out in the public or to a classroom of children or the book that I wrote, The Ripple Effect, they are all designed for that one purpose, and that is to help as many people as I can. And I say especially children, even with this type of a program, because this type of a program, if we can raise our children to help them to truly be themselves, man, that helps to save them from so many issues that we maybe had to wrestle with when it came with being forced to, let's say, fit into the box, maybe with school or with, well, just follow the rules because you're supposed to. And all of that is important, but you can't lose sight of who you are. And when you do lose sight of who you are, then as time goes on, you get further and further and further from the real you. And that's what this is all about. Why it's important to access your authentic you. And this is what I wrote down. Being authentic allows you to be the real you for the whole world to see. When you are authentic, you actually know what you stand for, and then it's so much easier to share that with others. Now, most of us have at least one person in our lives, whether it's a close friend or just an acquaintance. But this person, man or woman, will tell you what they're thinking. They just tell you. And they do so without being worried about what you're going to think about that. Okay? We sometimes use the phrase, they shoot from the hip. Oh, you know where you stand with Mary or with John or with Joe. But you know what? Most people, they like that. They like knowing how they stand with Mary or John or Joe. They like that if they say something that isn't necessarily accurate, that those particular people who are just very honest by nature will call you on your stuff. So it's easy to be friends with them because you know what's going on in their lives. They're not trying to put on airs. They're not trying to put on a show. They're not trying to do things just to fit in. They are who they are. Well, you know who else that we frequently see with that same type of attitude? It's our children. It's our children. Because what do? They tell it like it is. And that's what is so enjoyable about being with kids. My wife teaches preschoolers, 3-year-olds. And, it's not much more innocent than that. And they do. They tell you anything and everything because they don't necessarily understand, that certain things are necessarily not what we want to, share with the rest of the world. And I'm not saying you have to air everything, but what I'm saying is the more authentic you are, the more real you are, which means anywhere you are, if you're acting the same, the more authentic you are. Versus if you're one way at home, and a different way at work, and a different way at church, and a different way with your guy buddies or with your girlfriends, if you're a man or a woman, or in a different way with your extended family, like your parents or your siblings, now that we're adults. If we're different ways with all these different groups, then we're definitely not being authentic. And that is extremely, extremely important. What excites me about this topic is the fact that I want to be this type of person as well. I want to be the type of person that is so authentic and so effective in what I do every single day that I want this to have happen. Every morning when I wake up and my feet hit the floor, I want the devil to say, oh crap, he's up. That's the kind of impact I want to have on this world. And this type of a video program, along with anything else that I do, is under that umbrella. That's the kind of life I want to live. And I can't do that if I'm not authentic myself. And that means if people see me in the office or at church or at home hanging out with my family or out to dinner at a restaurant, they're looking at the same person. I want to be able to live my life so if someone sees me in all of those different scenarios, they know what to expect and they're not surprised. Meaning, me here at the office is the same as me hanging out at home, which is the same as me at church or me at a Bible study or me out to dinner with my family or me on a date with my wife. It's the same person, it's the same personality, it's the same language, it's the same values. And that's what it pretty much comes down to. So a couple of things to figure out if you are your authentic self and how to find that. How to find that. So I want you to think about this. The first thing you need to do is set some time aside outside of this seminar. Set some time aside to really think about who you are and what you really stand for. This is the beginning step. This is the first thing. Because think about it again, back to our kids. Our kids are authentic until we change them. Meaning, have we ever said, oh, sweetie, you can't say that? Well, why can't I say it? It's the truth. Yeah, I know, but it's not nice. You'll hurt somebody's feelings. Okay. Or, sweetie, when you're at school, just act this particular way. Because that's the way you're supposed to act in school. And we keep putting these different parameters on them. I'm not saying we shouldn't teach our kids and we shouldn't discipline our kids. I'm all about that. But within these parameters of being able to not lose who they are, to not lose their personality. And I guess that's the first thing we have to do is actually recognize that every single one of them are different. Just like every single one of us is different. But so many of us have been trained into where we are that we actually forget who we are. We lose ourselves in the process of being trained. We don't need to be trained. We need to be guided. We need to be disciplined. We need to have boundaries so we're safe. This is with our kids, of course, and even us as adults. But we need to not lose sight and not forget about who we are. So, the first thing you have to do is spend some time thinking about, what do I really stand for? And here's what you stand for. You stand for your core values. And your core values are what are most important to you. I'll give you a list of my 5 top core values. And so something I read every morning. I have it on a sheet of paper that I have on my bathroom mirror, taped to my mirror, that I look at every morning. But my 5 core values are faith, family, service, prosperity, and freedom. So I live my life with those 5 core values as my filter. So if I'm going to do something, or I'm trying to make a decision on doing this or doing that, those core values act as my filter. And one thing that I have found personally, and I've seen with other people, and you'll notice it too, is the clearer you are with your core values, the easier decision making is. The easier it is. Instead of going, well, should I do this or should I do that? And if family is one of your top core values and it's going to interfere with your family to do this, well, then that's easy. I'm not going to do this. It's interfering with my family. Or your faith. or your relationships with your close friends or your adult siblings. Um, whatever it might be, or your freedoms. It's going to limit your freedoms. It doesn't allow you to do the things that you really want to do. You can't serve people the way you want to serve them if you make a certain decision, because it puts handcuffs on you as far as what you're able to do and not to do. And unfortunately, I see a lot of people that have a lot of stress, and the number one source of their stress is their job, and it's because their job is extremely unfulfilling. So now the job doesn't fit with the core values. If one of my core values is service, serving others, and if my job kept me from being able to actually make that connection, that I have a job, I'm in a cubicle, I'm on a phone, I'm on a computer, and I really don't see how I'm serving. Well, one thing to do is to try to figure out and draw out of your job position, am I serving and how am I doing that? But if you're not, you know what? It might be time to find something different. It might be time to reinvent you, and then take all of your experience and all of your knowledge and all of your degrees and figure out how can you put this into the direction that you really want when it comes to, again, the example is your service. So that's extremely important. So to continue, and again, I'm glancing at my notes because I don't want to miss anything. But once the core values are established, then you get to look at your life. And you get to see the areas that are in balance or out of balance with your values. And this is absolutely huge. Let me give you an example. I touched on this already, but I'm going to elaborate a little bit. If a core value is truly family, then where in your life are you putting your family first? What we tend to find is many of us are living a default values life. And the easy way to look at what you are ranking as high versus low is you just look at, what am I spending my time doing? What am I spending my time doing? And if we say family is a huge priority for us, but when you look at our job and the other things that we do, or the sports leagues that we're on, or the meetings that we have, and we look at the time frame of everything, we might not be giving a whole lot of time to family, which then means that's a contradiction. I'm saying family is a high value, but I'm not treating it as a high value. So one of these is wrong. Either it isn't a high value, or it is, and I'm not recognizing that. I'm not seeing that mismatch, and that's absolutely, absolutely critical. So our work and social events with friends, that might be trumping your family time. Dinner as a family around the dinner table almost every night with no electronics on. That's a value. That's keeping family first. So what I'm saying is you need to figure out what your core values are, how they're working, how they're not working, and how you want to make them better. And how you want to make them better initially with the boundaries of what you're already doing. If you can find the service in the job you're doing and it is inspiring to you and it is part of your mission to do what you're doing, that's absolutely wonderful. And service should be a part of our core values. But we don't want to make, let's say, our job more important than our family or more important than our faith. Again, whatever it is for you. Whatever it is for you, it's extremely, extremely important to do that. And then once you figure out what your core values are, you make sure your schedule matches that. And like you said, once your core values are set, it's very, very easy. It's very, very easy to make those decisions. And it's very easy to look at your calendar when you have, let's say, one weekend a month or every single Saturday X'd out as family time. It's very easy when somebody calls you to do something that isn't a higher value than that. It's very easy to say, you know what, I'm already booked, let's find another day. Let's find another time. So that's important. Now, this is not about being perfect. This is not about being perfect at all. It's easy to fall off course. It's easy to fall off course and do something even contradictory, where you're putting a low priority in a high priority position. But the key is the longer you live like that, the more difficult it is. So what you want to do is focus on your priorities and your core values. Now, the longer you live like that, then the easier it's going to be to catch yourself being off course, get yourself back on course, and get yourself focused on this valuable habit of living your core values and being your authentic self. So again, a thought with being authentic is, are the people you're hanging around with, do they really fit that? So think about this. And again, I'm reading this because I don't want to lose this. If someone else in your life is not living authentically, you can help them first just by being an example. That's all you have to do is be an example. If that is not enough, then explain to them what you've learned. You can even share this program. That's why it's a video. It's on the website. And if they still do not live authentically, sometimes they need to be cut out of our lives. It's not always easy, but it's necessary because it's taking away from what's the most important thing for us. Let's think about it. Guys or girls, men or women, think about it. Is there one, if you're a guy, is there a guy in your life? Or if you're a woman, is there a woman in your life that takes you off course when it comes to your family or your spousal relationship? Because either they don't have that as a priority in their life, or the way they act is just, it's just not congruent. If it's a guy, maybe it's the language he uses, maybe it's the jokes he tells, maybe it's where he wants you to go hang out. There are times you need to just go, no, that's not acceptable to me anymore. And ladies, maybe it's one of your girlfriends who's always bringing up the negative about relationships, always talking about fidelity issues and integrity and all of this kind of stuff, when it's like, you know what, no. Integrity is important to me. Integrity is a core of my value. It's the core of my relationship with my spouse. So if anything's going to pull me away from that or get me focused on other stuff and gossip and this silly reality TV and just all that stuff, no, now it becomes unacceptable. And if it can't be changed, it does need to be cut out of our lives. Again, it's not easy, but it's necessary. So here's a warning sign. The first sign that we have a contradiction in our lives, is usually when a breakdown occurs. It could be a breakdown of your health. And we've obviously talked a lot about health things. But if we say our health is important, but we're not exercising, or we're not eating right, or we're not taking care of ourselves, well, there's going to be a breakdown. That's a contradiction. And obviously many of you have changed that. And it's a process. Nobody's perfect. I, as well as everybody here, we fall from what we know we should be doing, and then we get right back on track. And then we slip, and then we get right back on track. So that's totally understandable. So maybe it's your health, but you know what? Maybe the breakdown is a strain in your relationship. You're feeling a strain with your spouse, with your adult siblings, with your own children. Okay, it's so easy to make an excuse. Oh, they're teenagers, they're just this, they're just that. You know what? You need to make it a point. If they are a priority in your life, guess what? Once a week, once a month, you make it a point to have a date with that person. With the young man or the young woman that is a teenager in your life, you make it a point to take the time, do something fun. But by being together with time, you'd be amazed what conversations actually do happen. You'll be amazed at what you learn about, find out about, and how important that is to them. And taking just a snippet of time every day to do that is very important. But taking the extended time is extremely valuable, and they will actually count on that. They will not make plans with their friends at certain times because, you know what, I've got a date with my dad, I've got a date with my mom. And they can say it like that, or they can not say it like that. It doesn't matter, but it will be that meaningful to them because you're doing something with them. You know what that's telling them? That's telling them that you're still important to me. You're still important to me. Think about it. When we are dating, we take time and we go on dates and we get on the phone, and now we get on the internet and we write cards and we buy flowers, or we whatever it is. But all of that stuff takes time, and that time is showing how much I love you and how much I care about you. But then later in the relationship, life gets too busy and I'm too busy doing all these other things. Well, what happens? We stop taking the time to show our spouse, not tell our spouse, show our spouse that we love them and that they still are the center of our lives. That it's easy to feel like things are drifting apart and drifting away at different times. If we never catch it, and this goes on for years, well, then you start not to even recognize the person that you're with, and that's unacceptable when it comes from, if marriage is a high priority for you, that's 100% unacceptable, and that's not okay. So, some of the benefits that we experience once we start to access our authentic self. Okay, these are kind of fun, but this is great. First thing, there's an ease that enters your life. You actually start to de-stress because you're not being different people for different people. You're you, and that's who you are. Take me or leave me. This is me. Now, I don't mean life gets easy, but the ease is because you're not pretending, you're not putting on airs, you're not having to tiptoe around anybody. You're being just truthful. And again, you're not being confrontational, you're not being combative, you are truly being you. So whatever you're needing to say to somebody is coming from a great place of love, that it's received totally differently when you're making it all about me. No, it's about them. You want to improve. I want to improve my relationship with you. So I am having this conversation with you because it is important. It's important to me, but it's because I care about you and I want to improve our relationship together. And this is one way that will help me improve our relationship together. I don't want to be talking about this. I don't want to be gossiping about that. I want to enjoy each other and to take the time that we do have together and enjoy it. Do something that's fun or enjoyable and constructive, which is absolutely wonderful. So again, you're not acting different in front of different people. How you are at work is how you are at church, is how you are at home, it's how you are with your buddies, it's how you are with your adult siblings and your parents. You are you. It shouldn't be a surprise. When someone catches you out and about, they shouldn't be surprised by what they observe. It should be obvious. Another thing is you don't need to, even though this is quite an achievement to become authentic, to really discover this self-discovery, it's not something that you need to announce to anybody else. They will observe it just by you living it. And what's cool is by you living it, they're going to want that. And they may either just watch you and mirror you and recognize what you're doing, or they may come right out and say, you know what, you seem a lot happier and less stressed than you used to be. What's different? You know, your relationship with Joe seems that much better. You know what, your relationship with your kids, holy cow, I would kill for a relationship like that. What's your secret? And then you share with them what it is. And they'll be amazed at how simple it is, but it's simple. It's not easy though, because what do you have to do? You have to take time. You have to set your time aside, and you have to say, hey, my life is important. So you know what? By you living it that way, you're actually going to guide other people, which is awesome. So here's an exercise. Ask yourself this. I touched on this in the beginning, but again, it's something to think about. Do I act differently in front of my family as I do in front of old friends, as I do in front of work people, church people? If I do, why am I acting differently? Why? What's the reasons? Am I living authentically? If I am, people should know who I am and never be surprised by what they see, whether they're seeing me at the office, in my house, out at dinner, out at a party dancing, at church. It should all be the same person, just in different places. So, support through this is important. You getting support. First thing is, as you're doing this, you'll start to find who are the other authentic people in your life. Make that your inner circle. Inner circle, people that you want to hang out with, people you want to spend time with. It might mean, if it's couples that we're talking about, it might be you and your spouse and another couple, or 3 or 4 or 5 other couples if you've got that many. Doing dinner once a month. Getting to know each other more in a deeper, truly authentic way. You will have so much fun with these people. And then your family and your children can hang with their family and their children. And that is your core inner circle. And then, of course, you can do one-on-one stuff with them as well. If it's a guy wanting to do golf or racquetball or softball or whatever, fishing trip, or women, same idea. You have someone that you can really, 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 truly enjoy. Now, it's fun when those people can also be family members, but unfortunately that doesn't always work. So with family, you love them, you live who you are, they will observe that, and they will like what they see. They may change, they may ask you how you do it, they may think they can't do it, but if they're open to you, you can share with them, what's going on here. So again, the reason why I'm doing this message can change people's lives. It changes your life because it gives you deeper relationships. First of all, with yourself, get you more purpose out of your work, whatever your service is. Part of your service might be your volunteer work. Deeper relationship with your spouse, with your closest friends, with your siblings, with your church, with your faith, spiritually. There's so much that can come from this. And ultimately, this goes to what I always talk about, which is my goal, which is seeing the quality of your life increase. And that's why I'm doing this. So if someone has any questions from this, obviously watch the video over and over again, take notes, look at it as an experiment. Look at it as an experiment. Just say, you know what, for the next week, we're going to have dinners at home with the family. As many days as we can possibly eke out. Or I'm going to actually set up a date within the next 30 days. So the next month, I'm going to set up a date with each of my kids and my spouse, or maybe my adult brother or sister or parent, just to hang out for 20 minutes and have a cup of coffee, or have breakfast on a Saturday or a Sunday. Whether it's out, in, doesn't make a difference. Just take a walk on a beautiful day. Just to talk about really important, meaningful things. Not the weather, not sports, not politics, life, real life. And that's what becomes just so enjoyable. So, you can email me if you have any questions. And if you're a practice member and you're a member of Windmill Chiropractic, you could always ask me questions at our visits as well. Lifestyle. This is part of my lifestyle coaching because it's very, very important that our lifestyle is moving us toward health and not away from health. And when there's more stress in our lives because we're not living an authentic life, it's moving us away from health. We want to release that and help that to move towards health. So thank you so much for your time. God bless you. And I look forward to the next time that we do this seminar and the next time that I see you. Have a beautiful day.